I basically was crying out to Jesus, and I basically started to give up. Like I was like basically like, you know what, Jesus, I asked you to forgive me, and like because it was wearing me out. There's a scripture that talks about I'm spent by your hand, and the psalm
Hmm.
says your hand has spent me. I've been spent by your hand. There's actually a few scriptures about the hand of God, right? But that's so I think of that, and I'm tired. I'm physically like worn out at this point, and I'm like I'm done. I said I'm sorry, God, I messed up. But I said I believe in, that you're good, and whatever happens, like I know I believe you're good.
Hmm.
That's sorry, and I basically give up. I just go limp in the hand. I just lay back, and I'm just like feeling. It feels like I'm literally just getting pulled away, kind of thing, like drifting away or something.
Dude.
And at that moment, I have a thought, and I believe it was God. Like He said something, you had to fight for yourself. Like fight for yourself. Don't give up. Like intercede for yourself. Talk. Like continue to pray. So I started continuing to pray. I started trying to pray and pray, and then I started to. And during this time, I'm seeing like it was like breath started. It was like I told you, it was like this tower of like lights, and on the top I knew God was there. I couldn't see like this is God. It was just like you knew that this was the fullness of the glory of God. It was at the top, and it was like whenever everything was going on, there was the I knew I was connected to the top. Like that's the top of the light, and the glory that I was like seeing a piece of was what was communicating down to like the representatives that were speaking in front of me. And so I would see breath come to me. It was like
From the top of the tower.
yeah, it was like I would breathe, and then I would feel my breath go, right? And then I'd be like waiting for breath, and it was like I could feel and see just something like something come to me. I don't know how to explain it. It was just like
Hmm.
I could sense that something was, and then as soon as it would get to me, I'd go
Dude.
and
It's
be
almost like
filled.
the same breath that God breathed into Adam. Like it was
That's
like that kind of same thing.
Yeah, that's how it felt. And so I'm realizing now, like, oh my gosh, dude, all of my breath is really from God. Like this isn't like this, we say this like it's like a I don't, like an analogy. Like, no,
Hmm.
literally was giving me each breath. So now I'm like getting this breath, I'm realizing this, and I started to think about my family. My wife was pregnant at the time. And I started to think about like just why I'm here. And so I basically was like, God, like, just have mercy. Like my kids need me. I'm about to have a baby. I'm like, like there's people that you've called me to. There's a purpose that's bigger than myself. Like once I started to think about not myself, once I started to think about why I'm here and the bigger picture, I started to feel like a more and more breath was like it was like a slow release almost. And so this happens, and I'm feeling almost a little better. And then all of a sudden, it was like all of everything's attention turned. And so I like look like what's everyone looking at? And it was a shadow of a cross like comes out of heaven almost. Like it was just a shadow of a cross. And what I sensed was it was like God looked and remembered the cross. It was like his attention turned to the cross. And at that
Hmm.
moment, I feel a release, and all of a sudden I see Jesus come out of the kingdom of heaven. Like where this thing's going on, I look over and I see him walking out. And it's like it's weird because it's like when you see it's like he was embroidered in light. It was a man of light that like so when he comes out, everything's attention is like on him. He comes up to me, puts his arm around me, and said, "This one is mine. He belongs to me."
Hmm.
And when he said that, I instantly like we turned to go in. And like I knew when he said that, like nothing had authority to defute, refute him.
Dude, that's
So
so
when
awesome.
he says that, and I go back to my body, it was like I got shot back in. And as soon as I go to my body, I'm puking, like puking my guts out. I'm not talking about like, like it, I could feel like it was like maybe demons getting pulled out of me. I'm
Hmm.
puking, dude,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
a
Because I
lot.
know sometimes when
And
people get delivered, like they do that. Like they'll pee at
Yeah, that I mean, that's what it reminded me of because it was violent and it like hurt. You know what I mean? It was intense. And so I puke and then I collapse. My strength is gone again. I'm just done. And I'm thinking, all right, it's over. Thank God. But then next thing I know, I'm pulled back. And this time I'm in heaven. Like I'm in that tower that I seen. And so when I see Jesus, it's like everything else disappears. Like I'm aware, like out of my peripheral, everything was just like a light, like a white, light, because everything just disappeared around him. And all I could see was like his smile and his eyes.
dude.
And it was like, dude, like it was like he forgot what just happened, dude.